Hello all, welcome back to Time to Dice Character Creation, where we make your favorite fictional characters in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Today, we're tackling Japan's greatest hero and worst dad, Enji Todoroki, or better known as Endeavour. Endeavour is driven by his relentless ambition to surpass All Might and claim the title of Japan's #1 hero. And while that might sound like a typical righteous anime goal, Endeavour takes it to a whole new level, using this goal to justify being a neglectful and outright abusive father. All in the name of molding himself and his son to be the ultimate heroes. Beware of spoilers, and without further ado, let's get started. So, what do we need to bring this hot-headed hero to life? First, we need to be able to bring the heat. Literally. And no, I'm not just talking about his explosive personality. We're talking full mastery of the Hellflame quirk, blazing hot and unstoppable. Next, we need the skills to climb to the top of the hero ranks and solidify our spot as Japan's #2 hero. This means being powerful and versatile enough to handle all the wild and unpredictable quirks this world has to throw at us. And finally, we've got to embrace Endeavor's massive inferiority complex and use it as fuel to push ourselves beyond our limits. Endeavour is a human, so we're going to go with the human ancestry. But I'm tired of making humans, so we're going to bend the rules ever so slightly. Quirks are a change in a human's DNA, which means that anyone with a quirk is only mostly human. To reflect this, we're going to take the Ifrit heritage, to reflect some of Endeavor's fire-based abilities, granting us fire resistance equal to half our level. We also get 8 hit points and a boost to con and strength, and a 25-foot movement speed. But you knew that already. For our background, Endeavour attended the same school as All Might, so it's only fitting that they shared the same background, martial disciple. This gives us a boost to strength and constitution, as well as training in athletics and warfare lore, and the quick jump skill feat. With this feat, we can leap into the action with just a single action rather than the usual 2. For our class, Kineticist is the obvious choice for characters who control the elements. No other class lets us unleash an infinite firepower every day. As a Kineticist, we get trained in perception, fitting as Endeavour failed to notice All Might slowly losing his powers over the years, despite his hyper-focus. We get expert proficiency in both fortitude and reflex saves, letting us shrug off the worst of enemy attacks, no matter what form their quirks may take. Our will saves are only trained. Endeavor's a hothead in every sense of the word. We also get trained in nature, which doesn't quite fit the build, but with 3 plus our intelligence modifiers as skills of our choice, we can pick some more relevant ones. We're trained in simple weapons and unarmed attacks, though we don't really need weapons when we can slice a skyscraper in half with our bare hands. And finally, we gain training in light armor. Our hero suit can't be too heavy, or it would slow us down while flying through the streets hunting down villains. Alright, with our ancestry, background, and class locked in, let's break down our starting attributes. Strength starts at a +3. Endeavour is a powerhouse in the battlefield, bringing raw strength to every fight. Dexterity is at a +1. While he's fairly agile, we'll rely on later abilities to fully capture his quick movements. Constitution is a +4. In my hero, quirks are like muscles. They need constant training to grow stronger. This stat represents both Endeavor's intense firepower and his physical endurance. Intelligence and wisdom are both at +0. Endeavour isn't clueless, but his focus is overwhelmingly on physical performance rather than mental sharpness. And charisma is at a +1. Despite his flaws, he did rise to #1 hero after All Might's retirement. While most of his success is thanks to sheer power, plenty of aspiring heroes look to him as a role model. And finally, let's talk skills. Quick reminder, these are the skills as they'll be by the end of the build, not our starting skills. I've seen a few comments wondering how he started off and mastering certain skills, so keep this in mind. We will end up legendary in both acrobatics and athletics, your bread and butter combat skills. No master proficiencies, but we'll reach expert in diplomacy and performance for impressing civilians, and intimidation for striking fear into villains. And, well, sometimes even other heroes. Finally, we get training in nature and warfare lore from our class and background respectively, as well as society to reflect our education we received at UA. As with all builds, we'll get an ancestry feat at level 1. We'll use general training to grab the fleet feat, increasing our movement speed by 5 feet. This provides a bit of mobility, but don't worry, we'll pick up some other abilities for even more mobility later. Next, we need to select a kinetic gate. Shocking no one, we're going to choose the fire gate. This gives access to the fire junction, meaning whenever we use a fire impulse that requires 2 or more actions, we can increase the damage dice of that impulse by 1 step. Now, let's talk about the impulse feats. We get 4, or 5 since we're sacrificing our class feat at this level. Here's what we're taking. Elemental Blast will be our bread and butter ranged or melee fire damage. Base Kinesis for small and thematic fire tricks. Flying Flames conjures a precise bead of fire that burns everything in a 30-foot path of our choice. Burning Jet launches ourselves 40 feet, ignoring difficult terrain, or even rocket straight up into the air for some added mobility. And Scorching Column to unleash a fiery column on an enemy within 60 feet, as well as leaving behind a fiery field hazard. Beware of the overflow trait on this one though. You'll need to take an action to regather elements before using it again. At level 2, we'll pick up the Barbarian dedication to reflect Endeavor's overwhelming physical prowess. While most people might grab this archetype for its offensive capabilities, we're here for its more defensive perks. We'll start out by selecting the Elemental Instinct, which synergizes nicely with our fire theme, and we'll revisit this dedication later for even more abilities. Oh, and don't forget Catfall at this level, to avoid falling damage should Eraserhead erase our quirk while we're in the sky. At level 3, we pick up the powerful Leap feat, letting us leap an additional 5 feet with every leap action we take. Sure, it's nothing compared to Burning Jet, but it provides us extra mobility during those moments in between gathering elements. We also get Extract Elements, perfect for dealing with the more fire-themed villains, and Will Expertise to boost our reflex saves to Master. At level 4, we pick up the class feat Instinct ability, which comes with a couple of key benefits. First, all of our fire impulses gain the Rage trait, meaning we can use them even when we're enjoying the extra temp HP from Barbarian's Rage. Plus, the ash and smoke we conjure grants us concealment whenever we're in a rage. And finally for this level, we get the Titan Wrestler skill feat, ensuring we can go toe-to-toe with anyone from Fat Gum to Gigantomachia. At level 5, we snag another ancestry feat, and Clever Improviser is my go-to for characters like Endeavour, highly competent, but not necessarily rocking a high intelligence or a skill-heavy class. This level also gives us our first gate threshold. Expanding the portal here grants us access to the Blazing Wave Impulse feat, which deals fire damage to everyone within a 30-foot cone. Additionally, we pick up Elemental Resistance, providing us with fire resistance equal to our level, which upgrades to outright fire immunity at level 17. At level 6, we pick up Volcanic Escape, which helps us maintain distance when foes get too close, crucial against enemies like Shigaraki, who only need a single touch to wreak havoc. We also take the Lead Climber skill feat, allowing us to burn handholds into any surface we climb, making it easier for our allies to follow. At level 7, we pick up the Toughness feat, giving us extra hit points to work with whenever we charge into the fray. We also gain Kinetic Durability, boosting our Fortitude saves to Master, and treating all successful Fortitude saves as critical successes. Lastly, Kinetic Expertise raises our Impulse DC to Expert, ensuring our fire abilities pack even more punch. At level 8, we get Barbarian's Resiliency, adding even more hit points to truly max out our durability. This gives us 3 extra hit points for every Barbarian feat we've picked up, currently netting us 9 hit points, but we'll pump that way higher later. We also get the Wall Jump skill feat, so we can pull off some classic parkour through the downtown alleys of Japan. At level 9, we finally make use of the Ifrit heritage by picking up the Scorching Disarm ancestry feat. This upgrades our disarm attempts, forcing foes to drop their weapon or take damage when we succeed. We also expand the portal once again, unlocking Solar Detonation. This impulse unleashes a 20-foot fireball that deals extra damage against undead. Sure, Endeavour doesn't fight undead in the show, but you can't prove he doesn't deal bonus damage to them. Expanding the portal also lets our elemental blasts deal persistent fire damage whenever we crit. Finally, Perception Expertise boosts our attack proficiency to Master. At level 10, we'll take the basic Fury feat to grab No Retreat. This feat will help us chase down fleeing villains without missing a beat, by allowing us to stride after them as a reaction. We also pick up Kip Up at this feat, allowing us to fight back against foes who try to knock us off our feet. At level 11, we pick up Incredible Initiative, allowing us to catch up to and defeat a villain before Bakugo, Midoriya, and Shoto even arrive on the scene. We also grab Weapon Expertise, boosting our armor proficiency to Master, and Kinetic Quickness to increase our reflex saves to Master, and turn our successful reflex saves to critical successes, making us even harder to hit. At level 12, we're going to pick up the Furnace Form Impulse, letting us gain the benefits of Fiery Body, which enhances our fiery nature and unlocks the power of flight, allowing us to fly to the sky like a true powerhouse Endeavour is truly meant to be. Speaking of flight, if you want the mobility benefits of flight without the fire theming, the Aeromancer ancestry feat at level 13 gives us flight once per day via the Fly spell. Level 13 also brings us the penultimate gate threshold. Expanding the portal here unlocks the Architect of Flame Impulse, which allows us to cast Wall of Fire. And we can enhance our fire aura, so that enemies within it gain a weakness to fire, making our area denial even more effective. We also get Light Armor Expertise, boosting our Perception proficiency to Master, and Weapon Specialization, giving us a small but crucial bonus to weapon strikes and unarmed attacks. At level 14, we gain the Effortless Impulse feat, allowing us to sustain our impulses as a free action, letting us unleash our Hellfire without even a thought. Also, Terrifying Resistance gives us a boost to saves against demoralized foes, ensuring we stay focused and unshaken in the heat of battle. At level 15, we gain the Cloud Jump skill feat, vastly increasing our jump distance for even more mobility. Kinetic Master boosts our Impulse DC to Master, making our fire abilities even deadlier. And finally, Greater Kinetic Durability increases our Fortitude saves to Legendary, bumps our critical failures to regular failures, and allows us to take half damage from failed Fortitude saves, making us nearly unstoppable. At level 16, we'll use Advanced Fury to pick up Elemental Explosion, allowing us to erupt in a fireball that forces everyone within 15 feet to make a basic reflex save or take fire damage equal to our level's worth of d8s. And Intimidating Prowess lets our sheer power do the talking when we threaten a foe. At level 17, we gain yet another self-immolation technique with Blazing Aura. This ancestry feat activates as a reaction at the start of our turn, dealing fire damage to a slightly larger area, albeit at a reduced amount. The real bonus, though, is each ally in the area is quickened for a round, giving them a crucial edge in combat. We also pick up Counter Element, allowing us to shut down fire-based quirks, and Double Reflow, letting us swap out 2 impulses each day for even greater adaptability. At level 18, we'll make use of Advanced Fury again, this time to take Reactive Strike. This feat lets us make a strike against any foe who attempts to move or use a manipulate action in our reach. It has to be a strike rather than the much superior Elemental Blast, but you get to add your Rage boost to strikes, and taking this Barbarian feat nets us 3 more hit points from Barbarian Resiliency. And that's what we're really after here. We also get Intimidating Glare. You may have heard of an Icy Stare, but Endeavour has a fiery one. I'll see myself out. At level 19, Kineticists get several significant boosts. First, we take the Die Hard General feat, raising our dying threshold to 5 instead of 4, because when you're the one standing toe-to-toe with All for One, you need to make it as hard as possible to keep you down. We also get Final Gate, allowing us to gather elements as a free action at the start of each turn, ensuring we're always ready to unleash fiery devastation, and Kinetic Legend to boost our DC to Legendary, making our impulses nearly unstoppable. And finally, Light Armor Mastery increases our Thievery proficiency to Master. At level 20, we will cap off this build with a devastating All Shall End in Flames class feat. Sure, it sounds like a villain's ultimate move, but it's the perfect way for Endeavour to go full supernova, dealing a massive 13d6 fiery damage in a 30-foot burst, clearing an entire battlefield of Nomu in one fiery blast. And to round it out, we'll grab the Rolling Landing skill feat, which lets us turn fall damage negation, thanks to feats like Catfall, into free movement with a single reaction. Alright, that's the build. Now before we get out of here, let's take a moment to cover the pros and cons. For our pros, we have plenty of impulses to focus purely on damage, and when we mix that with our impulse junction to increase that damage dice from d6s to d8s or d8s to d10s, we will definitely be able to pump up our DPR. Next, we have the skills to always make sure we're in the right place at the right time. Between feats like Fleet and Burning Jets to make sure that we're fast enough, and Aeromancer and Furnace Form to give us a fly speed, there is nowhere in Japan villains can go to hide from us. And finally, you may remember me saying in other builds that Kineticist and Barbarian don't synergize well, and while that may be true from an offensive perspective, defensively, the Barbarian archetype gives us plenty, from free concealment whenever we rage, to the loads of extra hit points we get every time we take a Barbarian feat. For cons though, our biggest weakness is our over-reliance on fire damage. Sure, we can burn anyone we come across to a crisp, but that's not going to do much if they're immune to fire. And Extract Elements only lets us ignore the resistances to fire of creatures with the fire trait. Next, we're a little reactive. With 5 different abilities competing for our one reaction, it can really start to feel like a waste if you use your reaction too early in a round. And finally, well, Endeavor's not the best team player. We have plenty of abilities to do large damage to wide swaths of areas, but remember, your allies might be in those areas, and you have no way of avoiding friendly fire. So just remember, a little bit of coordination goes a long way. Alright, that's the build. Thanks for watching to the end. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps tell YouTube that you like this content and that you want to see more. And be sure to come back Friday, where we'll discover how to build Knuckles the Echidna in Pathfinder 2e.